I need to start deleting 928 minutes. Anyways, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Reading My Subscribers Scary Stories. Okay, we're now on episode 3, I think. Yeah, because last week I didn't take a video. I was very unwell. But I'm better. Woo! But I'm back in bed. Nice. Okay, so if you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're a regular, thank you for supporting my content. Okay, so the first story reads, okay, this one is by, okay, this one I got it on Facebook. Is this recording? Okay, I got it on Facebook, right? It's by Tabiso. Okay, so there's no title on this story, so yeah, lads, if I'm gonna have to come up with it. Okay, it reads, okay, this is my go-to scary story that happened to me. When I was about 10 or 11 years old, I stayed up sort of late. When I got to bed, I was still feeling restless. I pulled all of my blankets around me and tucked myself against the wall. My twin bed was flush with the wall. I was in bed awake for probably an hour when I started hearing a rather unsettling noise. Okay, muffled crying. I focused on it, hoping it was my imagination or I was asleep. So Tabiso thought that maybe he was dreaming or something. Well, after a few minutes, I needed to see what it was. I turned around in bed to see a woman in a dress standing at the far side of my room, crying into her hands. Her hair was matted and her clothes tattered. She was about 7 or 8 feet tall, crammed under the ceiling. After a few seconds, she looks up at me and screams, oh, okare, Boma the Conjuring, because if you have watched The Conjuring, most of the spirits in that movie, yeah. After a few seconds, she looked, oh, and I heard that it goes soon. After a few seconds, she looks up at me and screams, but it sounded like it was coming from far away. She made eye contact with me, turned around, and walked through the wall. I stayed awake that night. Okay, that was creepy. Because Tabiso saw this woman. This woman screamed. She looked him straight in the eye and then she left. So I do not know what that means. The second story reads, okay, so the rest of these stories I got them from Instagram, right? Yeah, Tabiso, it was the only one that I got from Facebook. Okay, second story. I used to work in a nursing home. The residents in certain rooms would complain about a man in their room at night, but hallucinations are common in the elderly, so it wasn't really noticed. True. Sometimes when someone that's old, our grandmothers, grandfathers, or someone that's old, when they say that they saw something or they are seeing something at that moment, we sometimes take it as if they're hallucinating that time. Well, some of them. One night I was mopping the dining room, which had huge windows overlooking the garden. It was around 1 a.m. So pitch black outside and low lighting inside. I had this horrible feeling of being watched. So I looked up. I think here, this whoever wanted to write, I looked up, looked up and reflected in the window was a man behind me. He had a brown suit in, a bowler hat, and the cruelest look on his face. He grinned and his mouth was too big. This happened in seconds, and when I turned around, there was obviously no one there, but I'll never forget that look of evil on his face. I paid more attention to the residents after that, and they'd all seen the same man. He just enjoyed terrorizing people. Okay, so I feel like since since okay, there's no name whose story sena name. So I feel like this person is working at a home, right? I feel like maybe the main is a spirit. Elore. It died there. It died there, and it died in a manner. It was so gruesome, and now I don't know. Maybe the spirit is just mad that yeah. Okay, my lovely females and gents, the third story reads: My house is super haunted, but it's too many little instances to put into one story. I guess I'll just go with the most recent one, okay? A few nights ago, I heard running upstairs, despite being home alone. I thought it was my cat, but then he came downstairs and the running continued. I was a little spooked, but it's not the worst thing that's happened in this house. The running lasted for quite a while, plus a few knocks. The next morning, I was cleaning upstairs in that room and my cat crawled into a box of fabric. I thought he was being cute, so I said, "Aww," and started pulling out my phone to take a picture. Oh, banan. While I was still reaching for my phone, I heard a mocking meow right behind me. I completely froze and just let myself process it for a few seconds before checking the room. Obviously, I was still alone. That one spooked me a little. Your house is haunted, ma'am. The fourth story reads: My house is on the side of a highway and I have windows facing the highway. It was late at night. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to tire myself out by jump roping. Halfway through my session, I took a glance outside and I saw a man standing on the closest side of the highway, staring at me under the lamppost. It felt as if it was something out of a horror movie. Once I saw this creepy silhouette, I immediately just ducked to the ground, and when I looked up, he was gone. To me, now it's a funny situation, as he probably was just some homeless man confused as to why someone was jump roping at like 12 a.m. And when I fell down, he probably bolted. It was not a homeless man, it was something else. If it was someone who was homeless, never a disappear that fast. Whoa. Okay, the fifth story, my lovely females and jazz. It reads. Okay, wait. Okay. When I was about 15 years old, me and some of my friends decided to go camping at a nearby lake. It was a 3 to 4 hour hike, and the nearest house was maybe 3 hour away. We brought some homemade wine and drank the whole night and ate poorly grilled hot dogs. Life is good. Plus, when you are in your early teenage years, life is good, shame. It is good. Like, you barely have problems, man. You barely have, you barely have nothing to worry about. You're just living in the moment, enjoying life. That's it. Now, stress, the bills piling up, everything. This and that. Ooh, it's too much. We all shared the tent, so it was crowded as in the tent, but we all fell asleep around 2 a.m. See, I'm a changed being. I am trying by all means not to sway. At 4, I wake up because I can feel someone running their hand down my forearm. Not that unlikely that someone brushes up against me since there wasn't any space to move around in the crowded tent. But this is the arm that is facing the tent. So someone touched me from the outside of the tent. I sit up and get instantly horrified to see that all my friends are sound asleep in the tent with me. I put on my deepest voice and shout, "Whoever you are, you need to leave." And a manly low voice answers me, You should pack up your stuff and leave." not threatening or aggressive, just calmly and in a dead kind of way. But now all my friends are awake and are just looking at me. No words, just pure horror in their eyes. I say, okay, we will go, but you need to leave. Hurry up. When we get out of the tent, this man, who is huge, by the way, has taken the little rowboat that was laying at the bank and gotten into it and is just sitting at the middle of the lake and watching us pack up our stuff and trying to get the aquaways ASAP. We had to walk around the lake at our way back and he was just sitting there watching us. We never went back. Okay, so this story is giving Boma Friday the 13th vibes, Maybe they're the ones supposed to be at that area. So luckily the guy gave them a second chance, because if it was Jason would have murdered the hell out of them. Jason doesn't play. Okay. It's the sixth story, right? Sixth story, okay. It reads, growing up, there were constant strange activities in my house. Electronics would turn off and on, and footsteps would be heard in empty rooms. A few times when I was home alone, I heard voices. The worst or creepiest was when I was a child and fixing dinner. I needed to get something from our upstairs hall pantry. I walked towards the stairs and froze. I don't know why, but I couldn't move. I was terrified. My dog came up to me, then looked towards the stairs and started growling and showing his teeth. He also pushed me back, so he was in front of me, snapping at whatever was on the stairs. It was only my father and I home. Mother and my brother were out, and we lived on the second floor. Our doors were locked and no one could get in without us knowing, so whatever it wasn't human. My father came over to see why our dog was freaking out, and when I told him, he said I was being silly and went to the stairs. He got to the doorway and froze. He looked scared and told me to take the dog, go get my uncle from across the street, and stay outside until he said. I did as I was told. This was almost 30 years ago. I never knew what was there. They never told me. I never felt fear like that again in that house though. Yeah, I do not know what that was, but it seems like your father knew, so yeah. Okay, so this story reads, so I work night shifts and I had to leave early one night because my wife heard tapping outside our bedroom window. We're on the front of the house, but it wasn't the front window. It was on the side by a fence. I go home, check everything out, find nothing. Come in, comfort the wife, lay down, wide awake because again, I work night shifts. Maybe an hour later, wife's asleep. I see a shadow cross the front window toward that side of the house. Maybe a couple minutes later, tapping. I grab my flashlight and gun and run outside. Nothing. No more shadows. Intermittent tapping throughout the night, but never again. Yeah. Okay, so the second last story reads, when I was about 11, this house down the street. No, this is the last story actually. Okay, so the last story reads, okay. When I was about 11, this house down the street from my grandparents had a reputation for being haunted. One day, I was walking to the shop to get supplies for my grandparents, and I saw the owner of the house outside. He was about my dad's age and started talking to me. I really wanted to be the first of my friends to go in the haunted house, and I was asking a million questions about ghosts and stuff, and he told me I could come in and see if I wanted. That's odd. I said I had to go do my errands, but he was pretty convinced and promised he wouldn't tell anyone. Hey, okay. So up his driveway and into the haunted house we went. But I heard him lock the door when we got in, and for some reason I was hyper aware of it. I said I changed my mind and he kind of blocked me from the door, trying to change my mind and calling me a scaredy cat and stuff. I don't remember exactly what happened for him to let me out, but he did, and I ran for my life. Sat at the shop for ages, just shaking and wanting to puke without even knowing what I was scared of. Anyway, turned out later it wasn't a haunted house. Okay. The guy was a pedophile and a serial child rapist. Yo. His house burned down while he was in prison. Wow. So now it explains why the guy was so calm about the kids, the boys, in fact, wanting wanting to explore his house. He wanted to like rape them. And by the grace of God, they managed to escape. Okay, dolls, that was the last story. Okay, that was the last story. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. Also, please do not forget to follow me on all of my social media platforms. And if you have a story that you want to share with me, you can send it to my Instagram, right? I'm available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.